Hey everybody. Okay, we're on to week 2. And weeks 2 and 3, I would say if there was a section where there's really a lot of meat on the bone in a 5-week class, and again, we're kind of opening up a fire hydrant of information in 5 weeks, but that's the way the classes are set up. And so if I was to just identify the meat of this course, like the section of understanding the team is really important to orchestrating organizational diagnosis and change management. And so for week 2, if I could propose a couple of questions to you, it would be this. What do leaders of change know about their team? That's just an open question that I would challenge you to be pondering throughout the course of the week. And then secondarily, what must they discover about their team? So again, in keeping with the theme of having objectives and then preparing, understanding, developing, and turning in, I want to focus on a couple of things. We're going to break this into 2 parts. Part 1 is this week. I want you to read the book, The 5 Dysfunctions of the Team. Okay, it's a leadership fable, but it's a good one. And I've taught this out of this book for a number of years now. And, really a book that stands the test of time like this tends to be a really seminal piece of information and discussion in classes like this. And so in terms of preparing, I want you to take some time to really examine and complete the readings of The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. In terms of understanding, I want you to walk away with an understanding this week of a couple of very important things. Number 1, I think it's going to be important to understand the value of knowing the strengths of a team. It's going to be very important, number 2, to understand the value of identifying the dysfunctions of a team. I think about this often. The most confounding variable in an organization is the human being. People are tricky things, and they're tough variables to always understand. They don't always make decisions logically, pragmatically, or otherwise. Emotive things come into play. There are dysfunctions that happen, and it's important for us to understand the value of identifying the dysfunctions of a team, and you're going to need to be doing that in your own environment. A third thing within the understand bucket is understand that organizational change management cannot effectively happen if the leader isn't aware of themselves nor the team members that they are endeavoring to accomplish stated goals with. You gotta know you gotta know your team. Those are important things to comprehend or to understand about this week's readings. And listen, it can be hard to take an honest look in the mirror and to understand and to identify that, hey, you've got some imperfections. But if you can get to that point, if you can share those things, your team stands a better chance of getting there too. You can lead with some transparency here, and I think it's actually a really good thing. In terms of develop, what do we need to develop in our understanding with? Well, hey, this is a practitioner's class, and based on the information that you've received, I want to ask you, how can what you've learned this week develop your leadership as you are entrusted with the responsibility of leading people? You got to be thinking about your own context. It's not enough to read The 5 Dysfunctions of the Team, Lencioni's book. It's not enough to read this. You got to get into the place where you're reading it and you're going, okay, these dynamics are in play within my organization. Take notes. Think about it. Like, again, pragmatism, practitioner. You've got to walk away with a plan here. You've got to know how this book can help your organization. And so if you're taking notes toward that end, you're putting yourself in a really good position to have a shot at some success with organizational diagnosis and change management. We'll get into that more in the later weeks, but specifically with this week, those are the things I want you to develop in. And then finally, turn in. You've got an assignment. You got to submit a 500-word description of your greatest takeaways from week 3. We'll do that in a discussion board format. You'll need to do that by Thursday of this week, and then by Sunday of this week, you'll need to have replied to 2 other posts. The details are in the assignment and in the discussion board, so take a look closely at that. But again, I just want to keep in step with, there's objectives for the week. We need to prepare, we need to understand, we need to develop, and we need to turn in. And if you're doing this on a week-to-week basis, you're setting yourself up to be successful in the course, but also to have a plan to orchestrate and work toward organizational diagnosis in your own context. And at the end of the day, that's really what's important in this process. So any thoughts, any questions, or any concerns, you can always reach me at rkozey@thechapel.com. God bless you, gang. I hope you're doing well. I look forward to seeing what you write and how the interactions play out in the online portal this week. Be well.